Hi, hey, hello, and welcome. I am Kirsten. This is Tristan, and we are Haseya Inc. This is your Monday Conscious Conversation.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're so glad you're here. Today, we are exploring a question that almost everybody encounters once awareness begins to grow. Am I right? If I understand this, then why do I still react the same way? That is the power question that we are exploring today because this podcast and these conversations that, started out with us dropping in every Monday on Instagram just to connect and within our community and just have conversations about what's coming up. Hey, what's up? Let's explain this, or let's have conversations about this so that we can get a deeper understanding. And while these are conversations, the profound ways in which these tools get used in life are so life-changing. And so we're going to get into it because this is a big one that comes up within our community too, and then within public that we see. It's like, I understand this. Why am I still reacting? So let's get into that today.
Let's do it. It always makes me laugh. We call this the gap, and no, ladies, it's not the space between our thighs.
It's not. What?
No, it's not. It's so much deeper than that, right? It's that moment of not even necessarily awakening, because I don't know if everybody would articulate that they're at a point of awakening or if they're just becoming aware of things around them, the systems, the programmings, the patternings, and recognizing that something needs to shift. So that insight is starting to arise, and then we're wondering, why are we still triggered and why are we still having reactions if we know better, we do better, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. It's like I had a breakthrough at that one thing I went to last month, and while I was there, everything made sense. I had the biggest breakthrough on why my life is the way it is because this is what I blah 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 blah. Blah. So why did I just get smacked right back into life and I'm still reacting? And other people, though, they've apologized and maybe seen, this is a big one that kind of comes into relationships, right? It's like, well, we've had these breakthroughs. Why are they still reacting the same way? So just like zoom out. We got the red pill and the blue pill, right? We are going to zoom out because this is exactly what it is, and we're going to see things for what they are and what's going on within our mind and what decisions we're making, okay? But there's a moment in that process that insight arrives. And this is even in coaching, right? Just like you said, the patterns, the triggers, the reactions, behavior is still happening though. And I thought I healed this at that one time. I thought, we've been working on this. I thought I healed this. Like here I am down the road and I'm still having these reactions. And there's this shame spiral. Why am I still doing this? Shouldn't I be past this by now? Oh my gosh, I should be past this by now. But we want to gently shift how we understand that experience because that gap is knowing something and living it consistently. That gap in there is not failure. And we have some processes within our community that helps us understand gaps and helps us to move forward with that grounded decision making and creation. And just knowing that it is the natural process of integration. It is a natural process of integration because we're humans.
Oh yeah. Listened to a couple of our stuff before. You've been around the block. You know that we have our three pillars, which is our subconscious reprogramming, our nervous system regulation, and community. And why we talk about those so much is because we understand that the mind learns faster than our nervous system does. So yeah, insight is cognitive, but our behavior is biological and it's patterned. And it's something that we have to unlearn and rewire. So when we're talking about this experience of the gap, like we're knowing something, but living it, being it is something entirely different. Yeah, we can call it integration, we can call it embodiment. It is that time under tension. And so you get to the space where not only do you consciously know, but now you're going to consciously choose to direct your nervous system to learn not from the state of the survival responses from the past that have happened over and over and over again, sometimes decades for most of us. But when a trigger happens, the mind, the body's still moving faster. So we want that mind to slow down and support us. So, like when we're saying, why am I still reacting? Why is this still coming up? Our mind is still like consciously witnessing something, but our body is screaming something entirely different. And so, what we can do within that pillar of our nervous system regulation and that subconscious reprogramming is we can slow that down. We can take the pause, we can be with the experience, and kind of dial back those reactions.
Yeah, it's no doubt. I think that the more aware you become that your nervous system is acting so much faster than your mind. Your body tenses up. Your nervous system is like, oh, we've been doing this for a long time. I got this. I'm in danger. I need to fight. I need to flight. I need to submit. I need to whatever. And when we actually get to where we can see that pattern, and at first it's retrospective, right? But then so we're not interpreting it real time, so our nervous system is taking over first, right? And so that makes people feel like they're doing it wrong. And there's just like this journey of that of first within coaching, it's like everything we're doing is retrospective, but giving the tools to become more and more um there's
Aware.
just like a gunshot or something outside.
So, one of the beautiful things about Tristan and I is that we are mamas. We have babies and we're present with our families, and that always comes first. But what Tristan is, essentially talking about here is when you do witness something at first, or in that retrospective space, we'll talk there, it can be really frustrating because what the heck? I'm tired of this. I want a different experience. I want something different to unfold. And yet, here we are. Whether that comes up for you in relationships, how you're showing up in work, how you show up with showing up for yourself. Maybe you're the girly that's trying to stay consistent when it comes to like taking care of ourselves and some type of workout regime and all of that. And we've all been there in some form or fashion where we have that shame spiral of like, oh well, I didn't show up again, or I didn't feel like it, and now one day has turned into 2 weeks, and oh, am I ever going to get beyond it? But the awareness piece is actually the first major shift that happens, before our reactions can shift from being unconscious to conscious. And so when you start noticing them, it is your doorway to change. It is your ability to do something different, to be something different. But we have to push beyond that spiral and that frustration that can present itself, and knowing, yeah, like, you're okay. We're witnessing it, and now we get to move forward.
Hello, thank you. Oh, okay. I feel like I have missed some of the conversation, but I am back and nothing to be alarmed over.
Well, very, very good. I was just, talking to our audience about who we are and what is always first and foremost, and um, how frustrating awareness can be at first, but it's actually our door into change, and how we can move beyond that shame spiral that can present itself and really allow for unconscious reactive behavior to shift into conscious decision, response, and making. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we are. And, we absolutely could have stopped this recording and this conversation and started over, but this is just a conversation. Like we're sitting over coffee and just had like an electrical transformer pop or blow right outside. And so I just had to make sure that farm animals and my children were safe. So I am back and I'm glad that you're still here. So how do we deepen this awareness and understanding? So that yeah, okay, cool, you're telling us, that part's frustrating, but something that will help you understand it because the understanding is a very deep, very important part. And if you can imagine a trail in the woods, okay, at first, it's becoming a trail because if there are so many people walking that trail every day for years, it becomes a deeply carved trail into the ground. And that trail represents your automatic reactions, your neurosystem, neural pathways that we've made over years and over decades, and even within our epigenetics, lineage wise, okay? So awareness is like suddenly seeing that trail from above. So when we talk about taking the different pill to zoom out and to see, we're like whoop, coming up here because we talk about how consciousness we're everywhere. And you can very easily have that experience to where you can realize where you're at in so many moments rather than unconsciously unaware, like you're never right here and you're like in the past and you're in the future. So we can very easily come up here and we're going to look at the whole picture. So now you know where it goes, but your body still is used to walking it, right? Your body is like, that's the trail. This is the trail. We've been doing this for a long time. The work here is not shaming ourselves like she has been talking about for being on that trail, not shaming ourselves for knowing that trail so well, for that trail to be really known, really comfortable, automatic, because that's where we're safe. That's where everything's known because we've talked about, and if you haven't heard it in other podcast episodes, but we talk about how comfortable the known is over the unknown. Even if we don't like it, it's more comfortable and feels more safe. Okay. So on this trail, we don't shame ourselves for being on it. The work is slowly creating a new path, slowly creating a new path. And if you've ever created a new path in the woods, you guys, it's slow. You're like cutting out maybe thorny vines, and I'm speaking for my Kansas woods here because we like to walk out here. But there's vines, and you're kind of cutting vines away, and you're having to move through stuff that's overgrown, and it's a little bit slower. Okay. And that happens through gentle repetition that we're going to make this new trail. We're going to slowly move through this new trail and we're going to keep taking that new trail. We're going to keep staying conscious, stay right here, and we're going to keep choosing that rather than that comfortable path that's already clear. We're not doing it by force and we're not doing it by perfection, right? We're just noticing, returning, and we're practicing this new trail again. And this is how the nervous system learns the safety in a new direction, right? And we can integrate that, right? How can we do that this week?
Ooh, well, practice, 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 practice. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I was reminded of a period where my husband and I were thinking about getting a lot more land than what we decided to invest in. And Tristan, you may remember this, but I think it was like 20 acres on one
I
property,
do. Yes.
acres on another property. And my conception or understanding of land maintenance was really out of touch. I was like, we could do an acre a week or something of that nature. Just like an acre a month, a quarter, maybe, like just trying to be really realistic with me about that time under tension and what the turnover of land would look like without, being limiting or implanting. And so many of us spend so much time in this space with the expectation like instant gratification. We want a new path, or some of you aren't even on your own damn path. You've decided to embark in awareness and you've come up in the clouds and you're looking at other people's trails versus your own. And you are exercising a muscle. You're learning something, but you're still doing the same damn thing over here. Like, even though we're coming up and we're witnessing somebody else, like, we're still in the same path, even though we think we're creating something different. So bring that back, come back to center, and instead of trying to stop every reaction or somebody else's reaction, just notice them. And then when something happens, you might say, oh, okay, there it is.
Yes.
I see that. I feel that. And that moment of noticing it, that awareness coming on in real time, isn't something that we need to fix, is not something that we need to perfect. This is the gap that we're talking about. You don't have to be perfect. You just notice it and in itself, and it is enough. That is rewiring. And when you're in noticing, we're not in reaction. We're witnessing. We're like, oh wow, like I feel some type of way about this person, or I feel some type of way about myself. Hmm. And then over time, that awareness begins to create more space because if maybe we are noticing and it's verbally coming out, or we're doing things, we're withholding love, we're setting these firm boundaries, we're doing all the things, and that's our version of reaction. But over time, when we're witnessing, that space gets bigger and bigger, and with that, new choices become possible. Possibilities become infinite. Our path can veer off into different ways because we haven't locked ourselves into that ingrained choice time and time again, unconscious or conscious.
Yeah, absolutely. That, like, oh, there it is, was very important once we started doing our work and our trauma work. And starting to see these decisions and beliefs that we had made during a time of fear and trauma or, despair, that were not true. And we were experiencing all of life through those, right? And so then once you start taking that charge off of them and start seeing them for what they were for, I made that decision and that belief system within me in a time of despair, pain, suffering, trauma, but that's not true for me. And so when you have that instant nervous system like trigger and take over, and you're creating that more space, and you can immediately be like, oh, there it is. I'm not being abandoned right now. I'm not being hurt right now. I'm not being left right now. I'm not being put down right now. That's not what's happening. It's just step by step. And the more that we go through those new trails and of that sovereignty, of that knowing who we are, of that beautiful, peaceful trail that we've been making, the more it becomes easier, the more it becomes more second nature for you. But you have to understand that old trail is really, really, really beat down, right? And so that's how we are with our neuro pathways when we talk about repetition. We talk about prayer, um, we talk about affirmations, but when we talk about affirmations, we're more talking about them in prayer and in that deep reflective mode of, like I just said, that's not true. I am this. And that repetition starts making that more powerful instead of that automatic response. And so inside that space of that awareness, new choices become possible because you have more space and you remember who you are from the beginning. And so the experiences that you're having, you have way more space of how you want to deal with it, how you want to feel about it. And so this is something that I want to talk about right here before we close out is um, we've things have been modeled because of what's popular is how fast can we get a transformation? Am I right? It's everybody when they tell you how to make your business when it comes to coaching and stuff like that, and you go to business seminars and you go to all these success things, and they always talk about everybody wants to know how fast you can change their life or your product helps them and how much. And it's so unnatural for us to say, whoa, 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 whoa. Actually, no, that does maybe make more sales. Oh, we can change you in a month. We can change you in 7 days. We can change you in 28 days, whatever. Like that's going to speak to people. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be out of suffering in that long. Like my whole life's going to change in that long. You know what? Good for those that present that and have that experience. But what we know from our experience is it takes time because of what we're talking about here, the integration. And so rather than going with the popular business structure of the coaching programs and stuff like that, we said, oh no, we're going to slow this down. We're going to give a container that's longer, not faster so that they're like, yeah, I can do this in 30 days and feel better. No, no, we're going to slow our containers to where they're a 4 month container. And people are going to, feel really content with that 4 month, or they will work with us for years. We've had both experiences with our clients because what we know and why we made it is there's more time for life. There's more time for those triggers, for those old patterns to kind of pull us back over into that path, for us to help support these new neural pathways to be made for a longer, more sustainable transformation that can be lifelong, because we take our time and we allow there to be that much space in it rather than how fast can you have your transformation. And that doesn't mean there's not transformation for a session, because there is, because those breakthroughs are huge and you will never see things the same again ever when you have a trauma session like that, that is so enlightening that you're like, oh my God, I can never do life again the same because I know now. You took a little part of that that pill and you're like, wow, I can see it, like, and nothing's ever going to be the same. But there's that integration piece of learning the new path and creating the new path within the neural pathways. And so that's why we have made the structure that we have, because we want lifelong change for those that choose to work with us. And we think it's really important. Um, but in closing today, that shift from unconscious reaction to conscious living, it does not happen instantly. And that's what we're talking about. It happens through compassionate awareness over time, which is not popular with us humans that want it right now, instant gratification. But the truth is, our mind, our systems need time to create new neural pathways and to create a new way of creating and being. So if you've ever found yourself thinking, I know this, why am I still doing it though? Let that moment become an invitation, not to judge yourself, but to remember that learning a new way of being takes patience with the nervous system, our nervous system. It needs patience, it needs love, it needs understanding, and that awareness is already that beginning. You start to be aware of it, and that beginning is enough because from that beginning right there, we build, we create, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us today. We hope that you guys always feel infinitely supported with our conversations. That's what they're here for. It's about support, knowing that you're not alone and that
Yeah.
it does get to look different. We love you.
We love you.